Hello, everyone. This is JD Calderon, and this is Indie Comics Explained. And yet again, I brought on another fantastic group of independent comic book creators. But before we go to them, please hit like, hit subscribe, share out the video, let everybody know we're here. Don't forget, I have a Kickstarter running for Tall Tales and the Oswald Chronicles. So go check them out when you get a chance. Without further ado, let's bring on our co-host.
Hello, everyone. This is Mark Torres. It came from the radio, the official show, the Big Apple Con, and I am your co-host for today on a non-holiday weekend for Indie Comics Explains. Let's see who we else got on the dais today, JD.
All right, the co-host.
Hello, I am Damion Waldbrunn. I am creator of Realmer X. I am creator of O Toys. I make toys for people. You should get some. And I'm ready to get started.
Nice. Okay.
Only make toys for people? What about for dogs?
Hey, if dogs want to eat my toys, that'd be bad, actually.
Okay, good. And let's not get any deeper into the people and toy thing. All right, thank you. Miss Wyndi, please introduce yourself.
Hi, I'm Wyndi Gayle. I'm the creator of Viscarian Tales, Marauders Masquerade. It's on Kickstarter right now. I'm excited. Let's go.
Cool. Don't mind me. I was trying to do something else, and of course, how you doing, Mason? Introduce yourself, please.
Yeah, Mason Easley. I'm the writer, artist of Legend of Azure. It's on Kickstarter now, and I'm very happy to be here. Thanks for the invite.
Thank you for being here, Mason. Mr. S, how you doing?
I'm good. I'm SK. I'm from Australia. If you guys want to know, the world hasn't ended yet, so giving you some future prophecies. It's all good. I'm the creator of Wordsmith, and look, thanks for having me on.
Hey,
You made it.
I made it. I'm Travis Gibb from Orange Cone Productions. I created Broke Down in 4 Dead Bodies, Granite State Punk, Cthulhu Invades, Holiday Spirit, Expired, all sorts of stuff. But I have Voodoo Nations, which is Bodies, Granite State Punk, Cthulhu Invades, Holiday Spirit, Expired, all sorts of stuff. But I have Voodoo Nations, which is Bodies, Granite State Punk, Cthulhu Invades, Holiday Spirit, Expired, all sorts of stuff. But I have Voodoo Nations.
We are hearing double, triple sounds.
Yeah, I don't know where it's coming from.
Yeah,
I thought it was like a really cool magic trick.
Yeah, I was like,
I thought it was because it was so important. We had to hear it more than once.
Do we know where it's coming from?
No, Mason, are you having a feedback on your end?
No, I think what might have happened was that I had the YouTube channel open, so I just closed it.
Oh, there you go. Yeah, that'll do it every time. Yeah, it was funny because I was like, Travis is still talking. All right. And then we got James coming in. All right, whenever he's here.
Hello, future James.
Future James, exactly.
James is low.
There he is.
There you go. What's up, James? How you been?
Working on stuff pretty much
Gotcha.
all day.
Nice.
I'm
Introduce yourself, sir.
James Rodriguez. I am an independent freelance artist. I'm also starting to create my own comic book line called under JM Comics. And I'm currently working on Sarah of Earth, which is my own independent one. Hopefully I'll get the Kickstarter up this winter. And I'm also currently working on Marvel Masterpieces 2022, doing 80 sketch cards for that series. And I'm currently working on one of them right now. So I'm doing 80 cards. I'm doing 80 cards for that. And yeah, sketchbooks and whatever shows I can make, I can afford to go to.
All right, cool.
How's everybody?
We're doing all right.
Okay. Mason, don't worry about it. Yours is not the first child to show up on this show.
Hey, remember that one reporter had his kids show up in the back. Remember his wife had to rush in and pull them out.
Yeah.
That's classic.
All
My
right.
cat will assault me on camera, so don't worry about it.
Really? Well, that's coming up. What's up, Pops? How you been?
Hey, Pops.
All right, people. Let's jump into it. Let's jump into the deep end. So, a lot of you guys have either had Kickstarters, run Kickstarter, have a lot of experience with Kickstarter. So, I got a question for all of you. How important is that thumbnail that people initially see when they first get on that page? Like, what effect have you seen that thumbnail generate for you? Let's start let's start with well, James. I don't know. What you
Yeah.
want to Kickstarter? Yeah, go ahead, go for it. Let's start with you.
Honestly, nowadays, the initial image, what people see when they go and jump on your page, is probably the first thing they're going to see. You know how people nowadays are just read the headline, whatever it catches their eyes. Oh, and they really don't read further than that.
Mhm.
It's kind of the same idea. The image has to grab them, grab them from the get-go. It's going to be a dramatic image or something that encompasses what your book is about, whatever your project is going to be. So if you even have a little bit of text underneath it, they'll bother to read it. Most people who go on Kickstarter will actually mostly read.
Did James fade out there?
I believe James is frozen in the universe.
He's frozen in the universe. Okay. All right.
Can
So
I mention one thing? Back to your topic as well. I think that image is so key, especially now that Kickstarter allows pre-launches. Because if you look at the pre-launch only has the image and your log line. And you've got to convince people to click that notify button to sign up for your pre-launch based only on two things.
Mhm.
And so if you can't hook them on the image and the log line, you're not going to build your audience.
Mhm. Yeah, James, you froze.
Yep.
So yeah. Yeah.
No, it's kind of what he was saying, that the initial image has to grab them.
Mhm.
You got to treat it almost like a newspaper. The headline gets their attention, and hopefully they'll read the rest, at least partially part of the paragraph beneath it. But it's advertising, it's marketing. You got to show off pretty much what the image will encompass, what the story is going to be about, at least for the most part. To get them involved, get them okay. This looks interesting. Those are the ones that usually will have people's attention. But it's also to get those people who don't readily go on Kickstarter and support a project. There are those who always go on it, they'll read it the whole thing through, but you gotta kind of aim it for not the lowest common denominator, but more of like you gotta treat it like the general public. How the general public would approach it, kind of like how we watch news, just snippets, just give them the gist, and hopefully they'll move on from there.
Gotcha. All right. Travis, so how have you seen it affect your campaigns?
I think you should have zero images at all, just blank text and just wing it. That's my advice to everyone. I'll keep using images and you just do that and we'll see how it works out. No, I think it's really important, especially if you're running a 4-week campaign. I'd have you, when I'm coaching someone or doing something, I always recommend that you switch it out during the last 2 weeks, because people are starting to ignore it. They're seeing it around a lot. So they start to ignore it. If you can get them to click on it again, maybe something will entice them too. Same thing why I encourage people not to write a lot of words on it. Like, you're funded in 4 hours. Well, when someone looks at your total and you had $100 goal limit, they're not going to be impressed by that funded in 4 hours, man. They're just not. They're not going to be impressed, right? So if you're going to do it, make sure you have something impressive to show them when they get there, right? The purpose of bragging about something is to, brag about something. If it's not something to brag about, don't put it in your little image.
Right. Gotcha. So, S, you got anything to add to that?
Oh, look, I 100% agree with Travis. Absolutely. And like I said before, and I'll shoot a link into the private chat that you want to bring up afterwards, especially on pre-launch. Like, I would say that's probably one of the most better features of Kickstarter, that if you can get your pre-launch like months and months and months ahead of time, and just slowly keep, as you're showing your different panels, as you're slowly building interest, you want people to click on that notify button. And all you have is one log line and one image. And that's yourself before they read your campaign. So I think that's absolutely important.
Cool. Mason, you got any thoughts on that?
Well, yeah, I mean, I definitely agree that the visual always will bring people to your campaign. I mean, so right now this is my first campaign, so I don't know a ton of stuff, or have as much experience as people on the panel might have. But I do know that as an artist, if you go to like a convention, you have like a gigantic wall of your art behind you, that will stop people in their tracks, versus someone saying, "Hey, check out my stuff." Usually the art will do the talking for you. So if you have an amazing image, it can only help you out. So it makes perfect sense to me.
All right, cool. Wendy, you got any thoughts on that?
Well, I mean, I agree with what everybody else has said. And the fact is that as human beings, we're first drawn to something visually. You see something first. Then as far as between visual and reading something, you're going to notice that visual first. So it's got to be the first thing that catches somebody's attention. And in order to do that, it has to be something dynamic, something interesting, maybe a little mystery in there. So they're enticed to look into it. But it's definitely the image that's going to draw their attention first. That's just a kind of human nature, I think.
Cool. Mr. Waldbrunn, what do you have, sir?
I agree with everything everybody said. I kind of go by the old standard for a cover, for a comic book cover. If you want to go back old school, that kind of idea from, say, like just from publishing in general, but specifically, I remember reading in How to Draw Comics the Marvel Way. They talk about the importance of a cover and how that's it's supposed to pop, get people's attention, get them to pick that up. With a Kickstarter, it's the same thing. You have to hit that same mark to be able to get them to stop, click it, and even more so because 9 times out of 10, unless someone's looking for something, they may just be passing it and then move on, or they may see a link on a friend's page and click it and go on. Unless they're already your audience, you may only catch them for that moment. So that's really the time to get them. And so I totally agree. That's got to be an important image.
All right, cool. Mr. Torres, you have any thoughts on that?
Actually, I have 2 thoughts. So the first one would be, it's kind of like with thumbnails on YouTube videos. I don't know if you've noticed how the trend is now. It's usually just a face that's shocked or surprised about something with arrows. There's like classes on how to make thumbnails to make it more clickable. So I think that's how it is for everything now, because that's where we are, which is, I find, to be kind of sad. But the other thing I want to say is that as I was doing my research for my own Kickstarter project, they say, look at other people's campaigns. And I went through and I was like, oh, what looks interesting to me? So it was what popped out of my eyes first. And then I clicked to read the rest and see what they're doing. The one thing I did not know, having launched a pre-launch, is that you need to have a Kickstarter campaign account to be notified for a Kickstarter. That is something I did not know, and I think people should know that, because my friends are very non-Kickstarter friendly, and I'm like, hey, I got my book finally gonna make it, and like, oh, where do I pay? I'm like, you have to log in and sign up. Like, oh, well, that's extra work.
Okay, that's true. That's true. Yeah, for myself, I mean, that initial graphic is always important. As long as the same thing with the log line, and that's something I've been. I launched campaign after campaign after campaign, so I don't have a lot of time to get signups. So at least I don't give myself that benefit. But it's one of those things that I'm actually going to try to get into. So we'll see how that works out in the future. Mr. Torres, your question, sir. You're up.
So this is something I've noticed recently. I managed to find my way onto a particular website that gives me access to certain things that may or may not be completely above ground when it comes to watching content. There's so many movies and TV shows out there that nobody will ever know. In the comic book world, I would say it's kind of the same thing. What is your motivation to keep on going, knowing that your book might just be seen by the 1% of the people out there in the world?
Interesting. Mr. Gibb, you're up.
To me, I already answered the question. No, did I miss something? I'm sorry. I must have distracted. What was the question?
Oh, Mark.
The question is, what is...
Sorry. It's been a long day.
Knowing that the amount of people who are making books is a lot, and knowing that there is so few ways to get your book out there, what is the motivation to keep on making your book?
I mean, this sounds crazy, but I mean, I just keep doing better every time, and my goal is to get to the next. I want to be picked up. I don't want to do this forever. I want to go to the next level. I just signed a contract with Scout last week that was announced by a whole bunch of people. I've got several other ones that got announced. Yeah. Thank you. And I got a couple other ones that are on the pike that I should be able to announce before the end of the month. So for me, my goal is, I'm going to tell stories. Kickstarter is just a tool to show, hey, I have a fan base and my fan base is growing. That's what I do, and I create content that resonates with that. And what I love about Kickstarter is it's just like the regular retail market, right? I could write one book about voodoo, one book about crime. I'm going to get different numbers, different backers, right? So you got to find that one that this is the one that resonates. And do I want to write it for a long length of time? Because I found ones that resonate that I'm like, but I don't really want to write that forever, but I'm glad to know it works, right? So trying to figure that out. So for me, it's not really a choice. It's what I need to do. It's what I want to do. This is my goal. So I'm willing to compete, go against anybody, do whatever I need to do, whatever platform it needs to be to hustle and work. Because I'm going to be writing comics and I'm going to keep writing comics. That's it. That's my deal.
Cool. SK?
Oh, look, I'm actually pretty lucky. So, like I said, I'm in Australia. So, Wordsmith is actually currently in about 500 public libraries across the world. Not in the US, but in Canada. Canada, Australia, New Zealand, Singapore. And it's in Australia, it's in about 200-something schools. So, for me, it's about getting read. And to be really fair, and Travis probably can attest to it, you don't earn much from distribution. To be really fair, you actually probably earn a little bit more from Kickstarter than you earn from distribution, because everybody takes their cut in distribution. The printer takes the cut. You've got 50% retailer cut. It is what it is. You don't earn that much from that, but it lets you be read. So I do quite a lot of library talks and school talks. And I say the absolute best thing is when a little kid walks up with your book in your hand and says, "Can you please sign this?" And look, it makes the world of difference that they've read it, they loved it, and you're telling the story. So money and whatever all aside, if you can tell a story which resonates with somebody, then that's worth it. And that's why we do it. And I mean, well, we're crazy, but that's why we do it, because we're not doing it for anything else. So, but tell your story, man. Whatever story you have, make sure it gets out there. You will find one person who will love it, 100%. And you just have to find that person.
Mason, what do you got?
Well, for me, coming from the art side of things, I go to like a lot of conventions, and I make a lot of money doing fan art and things like that, doing sketch covers, doing sketch cards, things like that. And I just remember like going to shows, and granted, I make table, I make profit, I'm doing great, but I just had like an empty feeling inside, like there's nothing behind all this, all this skill and ability. And people come to my table and say, "Hey man, your art's amazing. But do you have like Naruto doing a backflip, kicking Sasuke in the face? Oh, you don't have that? Hey man, I love your stuff, but I can't buy nothing from you." And that just really got to me. So it's like people like my art, but since I'm not drawing a character a certain way, that person doesn't care about what I'm doing. So for me, I started taking my comic more seriously. Again, this is my first Kickstarter. I did that because I want to make a mark with my artwork. I don't want to just be like drawing fan art forever and not having anything behind all that. I actually want to have substance behind the art that I do. So that's why, I do it. And like the rest of the guys here, I have a story to tell. And I'm blessed with the ability to draw and write my stories. So why not use that to make something unique and interesting for people to pick up and check out? And that way, like what SK said, when a kid comes to your table and says, "Hey man, the book was amazing, I loved it," that means the world to a creator. It really does. So, but yeah, I mean, we're all kind of crazy and insane because there's not a whole lot of money in this, but I think at the end of the day, it's worth it to create what you want to create. That's you. That's you as a person, as an individual, as opposed to just saying, "Hey, I can draw Naruto real good. I can draw Dragon Ball real good." No, I want to draw Legend of Azure very good because that's me. That's my heart and soul on the page.
Right.
Yeah. Gotcha. All right, cool. Wendy, how are you coming on it?
Well, I mean, I agree with what everyone's saying, and I think it kind of comes down to the fact that we all have these stories that we want to tell, and for someone who has a creative mind and has these things that they want to express, you can do it for yourself if you really, that's all you want to do. But I don't think that really fulfills most creatives. You want it to be out there for people to experience, and hopefully, you know, it resonates with certain people. And I think it's kind of like, if you can't get that story out there, it's almost, and you know, none of us have just one story. There's tons and tons of stories going through our heads, and that eventually we want to get out there. And it's kind of like a balloon, and you're just constantly filling it with air. If you don't release that air somehow, it's just going to explode. And you know, like that's kind of represents how I think how our minds feel when we have all these stories in there and ideas and stuff, and we can't get it out there and share it with others. And I just think I've told lots of people, it's like, if you have a story to tell, then tell it. You know, it doesn't matter in what form you do it. If you publish it, make money on it or whatever, just tell your story. Even if you're just typing it on a blog somewhere or whatever, but get it out there, because I think it's a need that we all have to be able to just tell the story that we want to tell, no matter what form that's in.
That's true. James, what do you got?
Yeah. Well, for myself, one who's been at this such a long time, the artistic aspect. I mean, I do get some artistic, you know, uplift from actually doing some fan art and everything else. But for me, an artist for me wants their work out there on some level. So I agree with Wyndi that get your stuff out there, no matter what platform it's on. I think it's out there. Someone's bound to see it. You know, even if you reach one person, it's satisfying, because you satisfy that artistic fire you have within you. At the same time, working on your stuff and everything else, you know, even if it's not technically your property, like, you know, when I work on the cards or when I'm working on even some fan art stuff, I do get some satisfaction out of it because it's my interpretation of that work. It may not be my own, but I still get some artistic satisfaction out of it. So at the cons, you know, I use that to draw people in. You know, yeah, they love the work and everything else. They'll buy some stuff from me, great. But I draw them in to then talk to them about what I'm working on. That gets their interest. For me, it's a marketing ploy. But overall, every artist, at least in my feeling, wants their work shown somewhere. Blog, on the web, Instagram, Facebook. That's what most of us, I guarantee you, 99% of artists have Instagram. It's Twitter for artists. It's pretty much what I've always tell people. People love seeing the work, behind the work stuff. They want to see what you're working on. You know, I mean, I posted a Harley Quinn piece that I did at this point like 4 years ago that I just re-edited and we did in Photoshop. I just posted up just to say, hey, I just something I worked on a couple of years before, and all of a sudden, for some reason, I got over 1,000 likes on it. Wasn't expecting it, just freaking happened. But at the same time, I used that because right after that, I started posting a little bit more of what my Sarah book is going to be about. So I got people who saw that, so okay, great, take advantage, show them what you're working on. Hopefully that'll generate something. But at least it gets seen. At least it gets seen. The book may not be out just yet, but it's being seen, it's getting noticed. And I've had people asking, you know, when's it coming out? Then, you know, a lot of people asking me when my book's coming out. But I'm generating that. But at the same time, as an artist, you get satisfaction that people love the work, whether it be the fan art or the artwork you're working on for your own personal project. So for me personally, I get it from both sides. But I use the one to draw them in to talk about what I'm more passionate about. And that's why I feel, at least for me, when I do shows or what have you, that's what I get out of it.
All right, cool. Let me put this up from Larry. For me, I got an IP gaining popularity, and I personally feel Niobe can reach beyond that 1% every time we step out of the gate. We slam home runs. Well, that's
cool.
Good. Yep, Mr. Damion, what do you have?
I don't know if I have anything to add per se. I agree with what else I've done. Fan art, and I've done my book and these things for the same reasons like James and Mason, and I know that for me, I agree with Travis and other people said, this is who I am. This is what I do. I don't have hobbies. I collect some things, as you can see, but I don't have hobbies. When I'm having downtime, I draw. When I'm having work time, I draw. When the only time I don't draw is when I'm literally at 9 to 5. And even then, I've got stuff scattered everywhere, just sketching ideas and getting things down. As a person that has fought with depression and anxiety most of my life, I'm happy with one person. I mean, don't get me wrong. I'd love for it to pay the rent. I'd love for it to, put my grandson through college. I'd love for this to make money and get people to see it and be popular. But at the end of the day, if one person reads it, I'm okay. If two people like it, great. I've told my story on here multiple times about the fan I disappointed because I didn't have time to do another book between cons. And they saw me at the next con. They're like, "Oh, I was waiting for your new book. It's not here. Okay, well, thanks." And they left. And I'm like, never again. Never again will this happen. I will always make new content. I will always bring something new to a convention appearance or something. But because that one person was disappointed and it hurt me. So I do it for that next one person. That's why I make it. Even if I don't succeed, quote unquote, if nobody's writing me checks, whatever, as long as that's happening, I'm good.
Cool. Man, I think I came out of my mother wanting to write books. Why write books specifically? I've been writing comics. I've just been writing in general since I was like 6 years old, and writing comics specifically since I was like 10. So, I mean, it's just one of those lifelong dreams for me. If I was to get marooned on an island and they found my body 50 years later, they'd probably find a trunk just filled with stories. And that's what it is. They have to come out of my head one way or another. It's just something I have to do. Yeah, I mean, I've worked professionally for a few years in the 90s. That was fun. I've been offered contracts by publishers, and that's in a direction I'm actually heading. But it's one of those things. It doesn't matter. If I had to do it on my own, I'll do it on my own. If I got to go to somebody else to do it, I'll do that. But yeah, for me, it's a lot. It's like SK said, I want to get it out there. I'm signing with a European publisher, and I've already been published in South America, and I'm seeking more of that out as well. So I mean, for me, it's very important to get that stuff out there as much as possible. So. Yeah, that's what I got. So, Mr. Torres, how are you answering your own question?
I don't remember where I heard this, but it was very profound. It was a female, and she said, "The one thing as an artist is born with is the need to create. They might not have anything else. It doesn't matter if they have talent. Doesn't matter if they have ambition. They just need to create." And I think that's what I have to do. I just have to get it. I have to tell that story. I have to get it out, and hopefully one person will like it. I mentioned this story before at San Diego Comic-Con when we were promoting the book. One guy came up after the panel. He was like, "Wow, this looks really good." I was like, "Holy crap, I don't know who you are. Why do you like my stuff? This is awesome."
All right, cool. So I know a couple of you are under time constraints. So I'm going to start with SK, and then we're going to go to Wyndi. But I'm going to pull up SK's your campaign so we can talk about it. Don't mind me.
So while he's pulling up that campaign, let me throw a quick little story out there. I just watched this movie called Back to Layla, and it was a little independent movie. And what was interesting about it is that one of the characters was wearing a T-shirt, and he was getting confidence, and it had little bars. So it was kind of very Scott Pilgrim-ish type of movie. And when he was not confident, it had red bars. But as he was gaining confidence throughout, the bars kept on going up. And I thought it was a really cool little touch. So I reached out to the writer, and I said, "I just watched the movie. It was really cool. And I noticed the T-shirt." And she was so ecstatic that I noticed the T-shirt. So I'm like, she put all that effort into it, and she was so happy that somebody noticed it and was commented on it.
Nice. Oh, that's cool. All right. Mr. SK, so this is your campaign, Wordsmith.
Oh, thank you. Look, I've got to say, Travis does one of the same things I do, and I think it's a really, really good thing to do, is if you ever get a second issue or a third issue or whatever, never just put in the title, whatever issue 3, because that automatically alienates your audience. Because when you come in, and let's say this is for issue 4, by the way, but if I put just Wordsmith Volume 4, and you don't put the rest in, what automatically happens is you go, oh, I didn't see 1 to 3. I'm not interested. And you stop people from clicking on that your campaign because they think, you know what? I haven't started this. But if you put 1, 2, 3, and 4, and I know Travis does exactly the same thing because I've seen how his campaign structures, and Travis is really good at this. What you do is by putting 1, 2, 3, and 4, it automatically, if you look at it, you go, hey, wait, I haven't read 4, but guess what? It's all here. And what I always do is there's digital packs available for the rest. So the other thing I do is, and thanks for scrolling down, the first thing I always do is show the covers. And the reason I always show the covers first is I always imagine that whoever's looking through my Kickstarter is as though they're flipping through the book. So the first thing you see is the covers, and the next thing that you do if you imagine them they're actually flicking through your book, it's just the artwork. So I don't do the walls of text until afterwards, but it's basically covers straight to artwork because you want them to see the work and go, oh gosh, I'm interested or I'm not interested. So that's one of the reasons I do the layouts as it is. And you just jump straight into the artwork. So, and I think that's really important for anyone structuring a Kickstarter is covers first and straight to artwork. Leave the text, leave the descriptions and stuff later, but just get them hooked. Because like you said, it's a visual medium. You don't want them to... actually, just about Wordsmith, though. Wordsmith is a steampunk fantasy adventure. And the whole concept behind Wordsmith, which I really like, it plays a lot on words. And I'll give you what it means. So there are certain artisans in this world who can actually create words. And these words can evoke emotional responses. And so you have the lead character, Victoria, and she makes words for a living. So she creates words. And all these words tend to have unintended consequences. For example, in an earlier volume, she was asked to make the word brave, except that she would argue that the word brave doesn't really exist because people aren't brave, people are fearful. And when you're acting in spite of fear, that's when you're brave. If something is easy for you, you're not brave doing it. You're only brave if you're doing something that scares you. So that's the whole concept. And the other thing I really like about it is when you got to play with a lot of words, the kids really like it because you get a whole bunch of concepts about how words mean different things to different people. The other thing I do is, and I've got to thank all the other creators for this, is I do have my PDF pack at a reasonable price. But what I do is with the PDF is I talk to a whole bunch of other creators, and there's more than 600 pages of comics if you get the PDF pack. So you're not just getting the 60 pages from Wordsmith, you're getting a whole bunch of other titles. And I always make it a point that you will get so much reading if you just get the PDF pack. You've got a month's worth of reading from it. And if you can scroll up a bit, you'll see the 3 covers. So you have the main cover. I'm not one who goes into lots of variants. It's just that I'm logistics and fulfillment. I try to make my life a lot easier. And I know some people have the 20, 30 covers. I would muck it up. I would mess that up so easily. I stick to 3. And even then, I'm already, oh my God, did this guy get the variant or the normal? So, but I make it simple enough. The other thing would be is, although I'm shipping everything from Australia, I'm basically losing on shipping. And I'll call that out. Like I charge only 13 Australian to ship to the US. If you guys know how much it really costs to ship to the US, it's a lot more than $13. But I do it because, like we said, I want people to read it. And if you read it and you enjoy it, that makes me happy. There's original artwork you can get. So this is original. And the artist is always nice enough to add a little bit of Copics, the remark Copics. So you see the different greens or the purples. You've got in the drawn in tears, which is actually my favorite reward because especially for fans, they can get themselves inserted as a background character. So absolutely love it. There is some really cool original artwork. I believe, unfortunately, both of them have already been pledged to, but this is the original concept sketches of one of the characters. So somebody said he got that, and the original artwork for the A5 print has also been done. And the last one, which is a bit of fun, and unfortunately it hasn't really been pledged to, is you can get a custom cover done. So you just get one cover that you can decide what's on that cover, and you'll get 3 copies of it.
That's
So,
cool, dude.
and then there's a bit of the creative team. So that's the colorist is from Texas, and the illustrator is from Poland, and so that's the 3 of us. The other thing which I like to do as well is with stretch goals. I'm not a big fan of the multiple levels of stretch goals. I like to put one big one, and if you hit it, you get everything. So our stretch goal is 20,000 Australian or 500 backers. And basically you'll get 2 additional comics to read. You'll get a whole bunch of additional sketches. You get a physical card. You get put to the Wall of Fame, and you get an A5 print that you can see here. So I don't really bother with, hit this one, hit this one, hit this one. I'll just go, guys, let's make it easy. Reach this target, you get everything. So I try to make my life easy with the covers and the variants as well, because it's really messy already to post out a whole stack of stuff. So for me, I like to try to kick things as easy as possible. Any questions or anything you want to ask?
Do you want me to play the video?
Yeah, if you can.
Yeah. I love the layout. This is really, really cool.
Thanks.
That was
I'm
nice.
actually
cool.
really lucky because
That was nice.
I letter my own comics. And I do a lot of lettering for different publishers and different indie creators as well. So it was actually relatively easy to put the motion comic in place because I've got all the different elements. Like it's a different layer. If you guys know, everything's a different element, and I've got all the different layers set up for it. So it's just basically which layer pops up, and as you move through, you scroll through it. I had some help with some of the other effects and the scrolling. Like there's one guy who really is great to help me with it, but it was really easy because he had all the elements just to pop up. So.
All right, cool. Yeah, it looks
Oh,
really
great. I mean,
I have a question for him, JD.
Yeah.
How did you become not a pup figure? Because I wasn't aware that you had a face. I've seen you around the internet in multiple campaigns. How did you become a real boy from a pup figure?
Oh, look, I'll be honest. I don't like photos of myself. I really don't. So that pop figure was a present for my wife and my daughter. and this is a long, long time ago. They got it for me. I still have it. I still love it, and that's how. Look, to be really fair, if you ever go to my Facebook profile, you'll probably find photos of me. I just don't like photos of me. One of the main reasons is I can't grow the beard, and if you see, this is about as badass as I get, and this is like a week of not shaving. It's horrible.
You put your badassery in the book. You can see it.
Yeah, I mean, for me, I love the presentation. The video was really, really cool. I'm just curious to know what. I'm just curious what program you used to do the animation with. I was like, wow.
Okay, so I use a bunch of them. So I don't know what the other guy does to help me with the fire and effects. I think they use Adobe Afterworks. I think that's what he does for me.
Okay.
I use a combination of VSDCC, that's the free one. So if you want, ask James to send you my Facebook details afterwards, and I'm happy to send you all the program details. What you find is with video, it's not particularly hard. It is just so goddamn fiddly. It is so fiddly. Yeah. You move half a second here, and if you want a time that the beat, when the song changes and you want the beats to hit it. Look, to get it up and running, probably about half an hour, you can get a basic video. To get it the way you want it, how long's a piece of string? You can be there 100 hours later.
Right? The one thing I loved about the presentation was the fact that, I've seen other Kickstarters where you see the artists talking. Where I love the fact you just let the work speak for itself. Yeah, I love that. I absolutely, because it felt like a movie trailer, which is great. So I love it. Congratulations on that thing. I love that. I love that.
The main reason I do that is I hate to speak on. I hate to show myself. I don't mind.
My wife that because I love to speak. I love to talk.
I don't mind live streams. I actually love live streams because you can talk. I can ramble. I can rant. But when you film for a video, it has to be concise. It has to be. You've got 28 seconds because that's when the song beat hits the next. Oh gosh, I screw it up every single time. And I tried narration over the voiceovers before. It is hard. Props to voice actors who can actually speak to time in sync with a video. It is probably one that I've just dropped out. I think some of my other videos I actually paid like from Fiverr. I got some people to narrate through. It's not that easy, and you keep missing your cues. Even if you wrote the damn script, I miss my own cues.
You mispronounce words and
yeah. I've done that. It's not great.
SK, how many more days are left on the campaign? I forgot to check.
I think I've got about 24 left. The main reason it is a longer campaign is it's school holidays in Australia. So I did factor in there'll be a couple of days where I will just be totally offline because I'll take my daughter out to the zoo or, we're going to do some fun stuff. And as much as I love comics, look, I prefer to hang out with my kid. It's a no-brainer for me. It's like, one they are promoting, or do I go out and sneak out to the zoo? The zoo wins. So I know there'll be a couple of days like that. So I had made it a lot longer because I won't have the time to invest that I usually do. But if you look at the evidence, I think the evidence basically says a 31 to 28 day campaign seems to do the best in terms of if you're picking a date time range. But for me, I think I made mine about 39 days just because I know I'm going to lose a week. So,
all right, cool. All right, I'm gonna pull up Wendy's.
I do have to duck, and look, thank you, JD, so much for having me, and great to meet all you guys. Look, afterwards, look, JD has my contact details on Facebook. Feel free to share my link through. Mason, I did have you look at your Legend of Azure. It looks so good. I love the artwork. So I did ping you on Facebook. So let's keep talking. But otherwise, everybody, thank you so much.
All right. Thank you.
Have a good one.
Thanks, SK.
Bye, SK.
See you.
All right. Wendy, you're up. So do you want me to play the video first?
You can. It's a little long. I was going to tell you not to, but SK's was actually fairly long too. So yeah, you can play it if you want.
I keep telling people a minute or less, but hey.
I know. Mine's almost 3 minutes long. Sorry.
Indy doesn't necessarily want to be a thief or an assassin, but she would do almost anything to be able to do the things that they do. Being able to melt into shadows, to move without being seen or heard. The only other way to do these things would be with magic, but it's against the law to use it. Since she was very young, Manila had heard the stories of the king's assassin, and she's determined to be trained by him. Yes, she's a bit naive and probably not the sharpest knife in the drawer, but she knows what she wants. Luckily for her, she happened to stumble across a group camped out in the forest. She quickly learned that they possessed some of the skills that she so badly wanted to acquire. So, after a lot of persistence, she was welcomed into the group. Her plan is to learn the basics with this group of marauders, as they call themselves, so that when the day comes that she is face to face with the assassin, she will possess enough skill to convince him to take her under his wing. If you want to be good at something, why not learn from the best? Scary Tales will be an ongoing series made up of stories about different characters who, for their own reasons, desperately want to leave the tyrannical kingdom of Ariel in search of a better life. You will see princes and queens, slaves and nobility, elves and dwarves, and new races to those whose stories we will intertwine into an expansive world of fantasy, action, and drama. These tales were created by hundreds of role players and writers from all over the world in an online role-playing game created by the founders of Bonfire Press. They were given a nearly blank slate and created characters that then, through the players' imaginations and creative writing, discovered and built a new world for the freed Beryllians to call home. Over the more than 10 years that the game was active, players gathered for a yearly festival. We reminisced and discussed what was to come and just enjoyed each other's company and creativity. The game became a community, a family, and I am honoring its memory through the stories I am now creating to bring to the rest of the world. So, join this continuing journey by supporting the creativity and passion that is Viscarian Tales. There are many rewards to choose from, with several cover options to tantalize you. And if you pledge for a physical copy of Viscarian Tales Marauders Masquerade #1, you will receive a sew-on patch that designates you as a novice thief in the Viscarian Guild. With each subsequent book, you will have the opportunity to rise in rank by pledging for a physical copy of the current book. If you get a copy of Marauders Masquerade 1, 2, and 3, and the trade paperback, you will be a Master Assassin, the highest rank in the guild. Thank you for taking a look at my campaign, and I hope that you will consider pledging. And if you could please share this out to your friends and family, I would greatly appreciate it. Thank you.
Nice.
I think that was cool.
All right. So, what are the perks of being a master assassin?
So what? Sorry, the price.
What are the perks? The perks. What, like, if you're a master assassin, what does that mean? What do you get? Like a key to the city? What can you do?
Well, I mean, that's a little far down the road because that's not until the trade paperback. But I mean, it means at the very least you got some good stories to read, and you got a bunch of patches that you can sew onto something. No, there'll be something else along the way. Like, it's going to be a little while before we get there, but there will definitely be. We'll come up with something. We're discussing those things right now. But as of right now, you get a patch that designates you as that rank. You'll also be listed on our Bonfire Press page. We'll keep a list of who's in the guild and that kind of thing. And as far as perks and stuff go, we're figuring that part out. So.
All right, fair enough.
All right, cool. So I mean, I'm sorry, we're gonna say. So I mean, I see there's a role-playing game, which is pretty awesome. I didn't even know that. So I mean, did the game stop, or what happened with the platform?
Yeah, it was I don't know if anybody here is familiar with it, but it was a play-by-post role-playing game, which meant that it was all done through writing. You created a character to fit into the world that was already, there for you to play in. We did that for a little over 10 years. It started in 2000. And then it just got to a point where we just didn't have time to keep up with it anymore, not and be fair to the players and stuff, because we had hundreds of players who were who participated, but we just couldn't keep up with it anymore. It just wasn't fair to them. So we ended up shutting it down early 2012. So, but this story is, and this story arc is the first character we're introducing from that world. It was a character that I created and played in that world. So we're going to be doing stories from different characters that were played in that in the online role-playing game. As the story progressed through the game and more characters were introduced and whatnot, and became part of the overall storyline of what was happening in that world. So this is our way of kind of telling those stories. Eventually, we won't be able to do just one character. Like this one here is just the main character, Ranella. That's her story. The next one's going to have 3 main characters as part of that story arc. And eventually we're going to just have way too many characters interacting with the story that's going to be told. So we're going to have to switch over to graphic novels at some point to continue telling the story. But for now, it's going to be three issue story arcs as we start introducing the main characters and whatnot that play a major part in this world.
Now, all these character stories are happening at the same time or at different times?
We kind of pick up different stories as time progresses. So like the next story arc, it'll pick up during the time that this story is being told, but it'll also move a little past that. So, and we're hoping to kind of progress the main story a little bit further with each one, while still making sure that we're telling each of those characters' stories from the point where it became important to tell their story, even if that means kind of going back a little bit. But it won't be the same story because it'll be from that character's perspective. They're going to be in a different part of the world and, different things going on around them and whatnot. So that'll help introduce the world as a whole to the readers.
Cool. Now, how many? You have a 3-issue story arc. How many of those arcs are you expecting to have?
Right now, we've already got 4 planned.
Mm-hmm.
One, and it's going to take. We all know how it goes. We don't know how much time it's going to take to get those 4. That's 12 books plus trade paperbacks done. So right now we just have the 4, and those all encompass the story of, like this one character, up to 3 to 4 characters per story arc. And I think once we finish those 4, we'll probably pretty much be at that point where we'll start doing graphic novels. So.
Cool. Nice.
I have lots of digital and physical tiers for people to choose from. There's, as you can see, there's 5 covers, 1 standard and 4 variants. I have 2 retail tiers in there.
Yeah.
And there was a short story published last year in the collective anthology from the collective initiative in Florida. And that is also offered in this, so you can get all of Ranella's story with everything that will be in print once this is done.
Nice.
Cool.
So, and then the one other interesting thing I wanted to point out too is that because I'm a prose writer at heart, there's also a novella that accompanies this. You can get either the comic or the novel, depending on how you want to read the story. Of course, the novel being in prose, it's more descriptive. I can add a little bit some more scenes to it, and you get a little bit better insight into the workings of Ranella's thought process and her emotions and things like that. And I will be doing that for each book.
All right, cool. And you want to get some stretch goals? I see.
Yep, we just hit the 3rd stretch goal. The first stretch goal was offering the novella as a physical item. It was available as a PDF before that. And then at 3250, we unlocked the buttons, which I have 4 out of the 5 already here. I just got those the other day. And we just unlocked the stickers. So the next one is a loot bag, which will contain some goodies, some of which I'm not going to mention, because there's going to be a surprise. After that, if we hit 4250, it will unlock Fish Lee's variant cover. It's a Star Wars homage as a print. Everybody will get that. At 4400, we'll have a digital short story. It'll be 4 to 6 pages of prose. And then if we hit 5000, you get a guidebook to Viscare, which will tell all the history, about the family, the ruling family of the kingdom. There's a lot of stuff from the game, lore and whatnot from the game that we created that will be included in that book. And then also, if we hit 5K, I will be donating to the Comic Books for Kids organization that sends books to sick children in hospitals.
Nice.
Oh, nice.
Yeah. And there's the patch.
Oh, okay, there it is.
Hmm.
Very nice.
So
So
so can you add or change stretch goals as the campaign is going on? So let's say if you hit 5,000, can you add another one, or is it just you already put it and that's it?
No, you can add stuff.
Cool.
I've retooled the Kickstarter a couple of times since it went live. Like you can do, there's certain things you can't change about it, like tiers and stuff like that. If someone's already pledged to a tier, you can't do anything with that. But all that other stuff, you can do whatever you want to with it. Of course, you don't want to confuse the people that are following the campaign either. So if you change something, then you should let your backers know and whatnot. But yeah, you can change that stuff.
What type of time frame are you looking at? Like, since you have a series, like what type are you releasing? Like biannually, 3 times a year, 4 times a year?
I'm trying to do 2 books a year after this one is out. So I'm looking at the second book being out probably early next year, with the 3rd book coming out in the fall of next year. That's the plan.
Cool, nice. Yeah, it looks awesome. You've already made your goal, so yeah, I think you're well on your way.
Yeah, I mean, I can't complain. It's my first Kickstarter. I've got almost 200 backers.
Mm-hmm.
I can't. Yeah, no complaints here.
All right, done. Very cool. Ooh. Oh, okay. I was like, I forgot SK was leaving. I was like, who am I missing?
I do have to go. I got somebody waiting on me, and unfortunately ended up getting booked on 2 different shows tonight, and one of them ended up having to do it a little earlier than expected. So
that's cool. Wyndi, thank you for coming on. It was great meeting you.
Absolutely.
Pleasure.
Yeah.
Good meeting you.
Thank you, JD. Thank you, everybody. I wish everybody a lot of success.
Yep. Tell Chuck I said what's up, and I gotta have him on soon.
Okay, will do.
All right. Take care.
Right. Bye, everybody.
Bye-bye.
See you.
Wait, you want Chuck on the
Daniel.
show? I thought you wanted only high quality guests.
Wow. That's how I know you love Chuck.
I do.
All right, cool. So before we move on to the next campaign, I'm gonna give Mr. Omniversal there, because he doesn't have a name, just Omniversal.
Hey,
I'm gonna give him an
it's what I do.
Is what you do.
It's what I do.
What you do. Okay. So I'm gonna give Mr. Omniversal an opportunity to ask his question before we move on.
So I've been thinking about it, how exactly to word it. I do everything. Like when I do my comics, my campaigns, I sometimes get other writers involved. Sometimes, it's coming. I swear, JD. But like I've had to learn so many things over the years of like how to do, and then as technology changes, programs change. You make a little more money, you make a little less money. You have to figure out how to do it on the fly for free, or you can pay people to do it for you. Of all these talents, which is the one that you wish you either had or had more of a grasp on? Because I'm $40,000 in debt I got to have a graphic design degree specifically to help make comics. So I have $40,000 with the government. So I know that's my price tag. But what talents do you wish you had better, or had better access to?
Nice. All right, let's start with Mr. Mason.
I personally, for me, I wish I had better skills with like web building and just generally doing like animation, mainly like game design. Like that's huge. I wish I was able to like just make a video game. There's times where I'm doing my artwork and I'm doing a comic. I'm like, man, I wish I could make this into like an RPG or a platform or like something else. I think that market is just so lucrative and would have been such a great use of my abilities. But I'm terrible at coding. I don't think I can handle like just the day-to-day stress of working in a gaming studio. So that's one skill I wish I had picked up when I was younger, was just learning how to design and build video games.
Nice. Let's Travis.
That is probably the most educated question I've ever had in my life. Good job. That is a hard one to just answer. A chance to just bullshit it. I
mean, that's fine too.
I would probably say print specs. I wish I was better at print specs. You know, when the printer sends me back stuff, I wish I knew the right answer. Right? I wish I could go, I really want the 60 stock versus the 70 stock. Like, I haven't mastered it, right? And then I'm grabbing comics and going, all right, what was this? And I'm looking at invoices. What did I do last time? What did I do this? So I think that would be the skill that I would want, because I think I could help alleviate a lot of stress on the letterer, on the editor, because they ask a lot of these questions and I'm having to play intermediate with the printer and stuff and trying to figure out those answers. So that's probably the skill that I wish I had a better grasp on.
Cool. Mr. Rodriguez?
For myself, I wish I knew better ways to, at least knew more programs of how to, I work with comics and artwork in general. I've tried different things. Like I said, at this point with my book, I'm pretty much doing it all, from the penciling, inking, coloring, more because of past experience with other things that this didn't work out right, including the writing. So I really just don't trust anybody but to do it myself, which unfortunately makes me try to become like a jack of all trades. But at the same time, sorry. But yeah, definitely more digital art skills. I mean, I've been able to play around with Photoshop as much as I could, but I'm always trying to learn what I can here and there. Back in the day, I was learning a little bit of Macromedia Director, but that's already gone by the way. So I was going to learn Flash, and Flash was gone.
That was perfectly timed.
So Flash is gone, and so is James.
Maybe James is still using Flash because it works. Just I remember Flash.
Bad Wi-Fi for some freaking reason. But no, I mean the weird thing is, even with the current book, I'm seeing it as visual, like a movie, and I would love to learn to do more animation with it, at least even for promotion. It's just something I've always grown up with. I've loved films since I was a kid. I worked on some indie films and stuff like that, but I wish I had better skills at programs that I've tried. I mean, right now I'm playing with this little app on my phone, which is kind of nice, but that's the one skill I wish I had. That, and maybe just being able to delegate the work better to other people, because I mean, I'm a manager at a store now, but even that's kind of tough, because I'm like, But yeah, I mean, it's more from past experience. I'm now pretty much trying to do everything on my own, which is both a blessing and a curse at the same time. For those who figure you can't trust everybody because you've been burned in the past, at this point you feel I'm the only one that can.
Are we twins? I think we're twins. We've been through much of the same stuff.
Yeah. Sorry. No. But that's at least the best way I can describe what I would love to know more.
Gotcha. And then Argo, animation talent will be mine as well, but better to outsource, as print comics is more of a passion. Make a good Kickstarter component, even if it's irrelevant.
I mean, at this point, I would love to outsource some animation for a Kickstarter later on, because I know I don't trust myself to work in. I'd rather get someone who knows what they're doing. This is what I want. I can storyboard it. This is what I want, and we'll go with her. So
that's cool. Mr. Torres, what do you got?
Beyond my horrible knowledge of technology, as you are well aware of, JD, I'm going to go with the ability to find financial resources. I think if I had money, I would be so much further ahead than where I actually am. A lot of my friends always tell me, wow, I can't believe how much you've accomplished with your horrible technology knowledge and no money. Imagine what you could do if you had money and knew all this other stuff.
That's why I play the lottery every weekend.
Hey, listen, I'd be in Paris, so I'd be doing this from Paris.
Because the one thing I've learned is rule number one I've learned is you can't dictate free.
Okay, all right, fair enough. For myself, it's always the same thing with me. It's marketing. I'm horrible at marketing. I'm horrible at selling myself. I'm horrible at just presenting myself and doing that whole thing, which is why I'm doing the show. But I'm doing it for 2 years, still suck at it, so I'm still practicing. So to hell with it. Comics. So
I don't come on shows that suck. I'm just saying.
Come on, Johnny Carson. You're doing well.
You just asked Chuck to be on it, so you're digging at the bottom. You gotta higher.
It's one of those things. I look at it like, see, when it comes out to that, I like to go on all spectrums. I like low, I like high, I like the middle. It's I like them all. So but no, it's really me selling myself. It's talking about Oswald, talking about Tall Tales. It's one of those things I just never felt comfortable about it because it's funny. I could probably sell Damien's project or Mark's project or Travis's project or James' project or Mason's project better than I can sell my own, because I don't have that pressure of like I feel like I'm bragging, right? Like that's what it always feels like. It's like, oh, but that's what you're supposed to. It's not even bragging. It's just presenting yourself to the public, and it's just like it's what are you gonna do? Like I said, I'm practicing on it. I think I'm gonna take Daphne's cue and just write cue cards. So that's what she does. And she does a great job with it too. She writes it down. She does the speech, and she's just like, and everybody's like, "Oh, that was fantastic." And she's like, "It's a cue card." So, it works for her. So I was like, okay, so maybe I have to take that one.
Genius.
Yeah, maybe I have to use that one. So, Mr. Omniversal, how do you
time management?
Mm-hmm.
It's like it's like with anything I want to do. Like if it's something I don't know, I'll sit down, I take the time. COVID for me turned into making toys, because I taught myself how to 3D model and then how to 3D print and then how to put everything together, paint, package, the whole bit. I'm confident that I can do it. I just don't have enough hours in the day. I just need like a 26-hour day, 27-hour day, and I'd be great. But then again, when I was out of work and it was all I was doing, I still didn't get a lot accomplished. So it's pretty much me and my time management that's the issue. Beyond that, I feel like I've got a pretty good grasp on what I need to do to get the stuff done. Just need to do it.
Cool.
Others may disagree.
So, Mr.
Hey, that's me.
That's you, sir. That is you. You're smart. You don't have a video.
I don't do it on my so I have a policy. So I do 3-week campaigns on sub issues and 4-week campaigns on stuff. And I don't do for 3 weeks. I don't bother doing a video.
Gotcha. Okay.
Just because it's already existing property, and hopefully it'll work out in its thing. But yes, this is me. This is Voodoo Nations. I'm on my 3rd issue here. It's about 2 missionaries that go to Brazil. They meet an evil voodoo priest, kind of messes up their life, kind of messes up their marriage, maybe resurrects one of them from the dead. He's not
maybe.
Yeah. All right. So what happened? And bad things happen after that. We've got, and he's following around, and they're trying to figure out how to fix this and fix their marriage. And they find out there's voodoo priests everywhere in New Orleans and Brazil. They should probably not go to places that, have lots of these things. You don't hear about the main voodoo priest, you'd probably be fine, but you didn't go there.
Nice.
But yeah, this is we've got some really cool covers. That is cover A is probably my favorite out of all the covers. I think this is our new artist. We switched artists from this when Luke got sick and some stuff. So this is our new artist, but as someone, JD, Luke pretty well. He has a very similar style. Like if you're not in the know and you don't know for detail, they have a very similar style, and I did that on purpose. Picking someone who kind of has a similar feel and vibe.
Mm-hmm. No, that's smart.
Nice.
But yeah, I did this new thing. A lot of the new Kickstarters are doing this first and second issue, kind of writes it up. So I give you a description and write up right there, kind of see what's going on and how it all went down. Seems to be working out really well. All the people who are making big money seems to be doing well. So I thought that was the secret. but I did not make the big money yet, so I guess it wasn't the secret.
Right.
I'll try some other things next time.
It's always trying to find out what's in that secret sauce,
What's the secret sauce, right?
Exactly. It's just, oof.
But yeah, we do some cool things. So one of the cool things we do is we do a day and night variant, which is cool. So coming up here in a second, you're going to see the day and night variant. So that's the day variant. This is by a new artist for us. So that's the day. And then if you scroll down a little bit, you see the night, which is pretty cool.
Oh, nice. Okay.
Like that, we've done that for every campaign. So 1, 2, and 3 all have a day and night variant. That's kind of our signature. Every campaign I have a signature. That's the new one for that, which is pretty cool. You can get all 3 on this. Pretty inexpensive. I also do international support. So if you're an international backer, I always give you 1 pledge level higher than you pledge. So if you pledge for 2 books, you'd get 3 books, whatever the case would be. It's my little give back, because it doesn't cost that much more to add 1 extra book with stuff. And then the Guns N' Roses cover. We've been getting a lot of great vibe on that. Mm-hmm. It's really cool to do a homage cover that actually fits, right? A lot of times you just do it, but there's 4 voodoo priests in the series, and then the main character. And so the main character's in the middle and the 4 voodoo priests. Thanks, Tron Talk. They said they're only here to say hi to me. That's a shame because there's great books here, but hi. That is we did a contest this year, and that's the person who won the contest. He did that cover. I am drawing a blank on his name today. I don't know why, but I think it's cool.
No, it looks incredible.
Yeah. He did a very cool vibe.
Yeah.
This character, Bishop Belucas, he's the first one that gets people are always sending me fan art, right? They're always sending me some cool things. You got a character that resonates when that happens. I'm not asking, hey, can you draw my character? So, and we get a little bloody this one. We get a little darker, goes in a little dark direction. This issue, we finish up in New Orleans and we go to the Day of the Dead. So we start finishing up where we left off last issue in New Orleans, and then we go to a Day of the Dead ceremony, meet a new voodoo priest. Lots of crazy stuff. We got some murder. You need some murder. It's been a couple. We didn't have any murders in issue 2. I mean, I'm known for dead bodies. Right? I started with 4, then 5. Like the body count in Voodoo Nations is sadly very low, and starting to bring it up. We're at 2 now. I'm so excited. And one of them got resurrected, so it doesn't even count. Doesn't count.
It's minus a -1 death.
But yeah, you can get all 3 for $8 with digital. We've got the collective. That's actually, it's interesting. Wendy's book and ours has the same Tales of the Collective, which has a short story. And yeah, we've got a lot of cool covers, and I keep it very affordable. I've been doing this for a little bit. We're doing great. We're over 200 backers. We just hit 5,000 a day, so we'll probably end a little closer to 6, hopefully, if everything goes well and we don't get tons of drops and something crazy. But we should be doing pretty well.
Hey, I have a question.
Yeah.
As far as the alternate covers go, the day and night covers, weird question maybe, but do you include those in the PDFs, or are those strictly for physical?
Strictly for digital, but I do have a cover gallery at the end of all my issues, so you can see it. But I don't have like big like pictures. I know people like that, but it doesn't make a lot of sense to me, so I just put a cover gallery at the back.
Yeah, the last couple of books I've gotten have had like multiple covers, like whatever variant covers they have, they'll put them all at the beginning of the PDF, and I'm like,
right,
this is cool. Kind of want to get to the story. Come on,
right.
Plus, I think if other people are paying for it, it seems a little, unless you're using it for art purposes, which
right.
That's cool. I mean, it's everybody's personal choice, but if somebody else is having to pay for it, getting it for free is kind of like, I don't know. That's just me. I'm weird. So
yeah. Well, what's cool about my campaigns too? I do a lot of cool things that are like behind the scenes too. So I have a Substack. So if you're on my Substack, you can buy a Substack cover. You could only see that Substack. You can only buy it as an add-on, and you've to see what the cover looks like, you have to be part of my Substack, which is cool. We have store variants. My store variants, I do release them in the updates. You have a chance to get some of those store variants through some of our collectors boxes. We do pretty well with the retailers. We're in 18 stores for retail, so we do pretty well on that. And that's just with no distribution but myself.
No, that's cool. That's awesome. So you have what? Oh, you got another 4 days. Okay, cool.
Yep.
Sweet.
Nice.
Congrats, man.
Thank you. I'm very proud of it. We've been, like I said, this is one of my favorite series. It's very personal to me. The premise of the book, the real premise is my mom died a few years ago, and when my mom died, I lost myself as the first person who ever died that mattered to me. And when someone dies, you start grieving. You're just not there. You're there, but there's a part of you that's gone, right? That's what grieving means, right? And I didn't know how to relate to my my girlfriend and soon-to-be fiance at the time, and I didn't know if I was ever going to come back, if I was ever going to be me again, right? Because I knew, that song, I ain't changed, but I know I ain't the same, right? So I brought my brother to New Orleans, and we kind of partied. But here's why that's weird. My mom went into AA when I was 12 and he was 9. Like, it's an inappropriate thing to do when your mom dies, right? But like, I was grieving and my brother was grieving and trying to figure that out. And this is kind of like a fictional tale of what I felt my wife was going through, trying to find the man who she was going to marry, and who she fell in love with. Because I know I wasn't there and I wasn't acting right. My actions were weird, my old stuff, because I didn't know who I was going to be when I came out of it. Luckily I came fine. Luckily we've been married. We're going on our wedding anniversary. In fact, the day after this campaign ends is our wedding anniversary. So it's really connected. But yeah, this is a really personal book in those aspects, and trying to add that to the story and kind of telling a fictional version of what I think my wife went through.
Listen, man, congratulations with the wedding, man.
Thanks.
All right, cool. So there's, and you have another campaign you sent me, right?
I have another campaign. You don't have to go through the full thing, but I just want to give it a shout out if you don't mind. I'm just the project manager of it. It is Dust County Chronicles. You know Joe Rodriguez, right? From back in the day? Maybe not.
Maybe. No, I don't.
I met you after, so it's possible not.
Yeah.
It's in the thing. It's called Dust County Chronicles. He's just coming back to Kickstarter. He asked me, so he's a letterer. He letters for Scout, letters for that Merc magazine that does a Kickstarter like every week. He used to be Larry's letterer. He just replaced letters, tons of stuff, and he just got too busy. So I'm the project manager of that. So I'm helping out on that. So it's called Dust County Chronicles. So if you want to check it out, he's got a lot of good pledge levels. It's a very good story. It's a horror based, you kind of go, and there's all these different monsters that you kind of deal with. This is the second issue of that. And he's got some of the best cover artists if you're reading mainstream indie comics. So he's got struggling right here. I'm gonna have to look. Alice Kermack, Brian Silverbacks, Joseph Smelke. Look at that.
I know. Hold on.
I just sent it again in the private if it helps.
Okay. No, I'm trying to put once in a while my computer. I'm gonna have to get a separate system just to stream. My computer's starting to choke on me every now and again. Someone's like, it's starting to piss me off.
I know how you feel.
But yeah, this is not a Travis campaign. I'm just helping him. He's a new father. He's only had a kid for about a year, and his wife works a lot of hours. So I'm just helping out because he literally, it was one of those situations where I just love the book, right? I love the book, and I was like, hey, where's the issue? He's like, it's done. And I was like, what are you doing? So I convinced him to launch. So we've got it. It's a great story. A lot of great covers if you're into that stuff. He's the Letter of Steak, who's also live right now. There's some very, very cool things if you're into horror. The first story was like anthologies, like the first 2 issues was called Dust County Chronicles.
Mm-hmm.
Yes, Joseph Smelke's there. Alex Kermack, Brian Silverbacks. Who else I'm missing people? Chris Mad. Everyone loves Chris Mad. He's got a Ryan Kincaid. He's got those great people. So I wanted to get it out there. So yeah, that's it. If you guys want to check it out, I'm just the project manager, but it's a good book. I highly recommend it.
All right, cool. It looks fantastic. How much longer does he have on? It's 24 more days. Okay.
He's got 24 days. So he's doing great. He's moving right along.
All right, cool. Maybe I'll reach out to him. Maybe he'll want to come on the show. I can have money.
Yeah, absolutely.
All right, cool. Do you want me to play this video?
You can if you want, but you already did a 3-minute video. I think it's short though. I think it's only like 40 seconds or something.
All right, somebody who follows the rules.
Thank you.
Nice.
Yeah,
I love that grindhouse movie, the movie kind of feel. Very
Yeah,
cool.
he's a cool cat. Yeah, I'm really happy that he decided to trust me to run the campaign because he wouldn't do it if somebody's not running it because he knows how much work this takes to get to the level. And I said, I'll do it. I'm running my own campaign, so you're gonna get like the extra. But he's a trooper and he does great work.
All right, cool. Draw and Talk, I'm only here. I know you said this, Mr. Draw and Talk. You're always welcome on. You know that. Actually, if he doesn't know that, maybe I just have to reach out to him, invite him. We'll bring him in, and we can talk. Which would be cool. Let me pull up Mr. Mason's campaign. Should be awesome.
I got to tell you, before Mason start, I was so excited when you launched, just because you've been part of our community for such a long time, and to put it out there, like it's so great to see that. I was super excited. The minute I saw people, I was like, "What's going on? Everyone's backing. A lot of my friends are backing this book, A Legend of." Who is this? What's going on? Oh, it's Mason. I will give Mason money. Absolutely.
And Travis, I want to say, man, thank you so much for all the help, man. Basically, the way this page is laid out is because of Mr. Gibb and because of Tyler, who just popped up. I was really like saying, "Hey guys, like, what do I do? How to, this is my first Kickstarter campaign. I don't know what I was doing." So your guys' help has been amazing, and this has been a great experience for me. So thank you so much. I appreciate you guys. Thank you.
All right, cool. Now, before I start scrolling, do you want me to play the video?
Yeah, it's short. I followed the rules.
Good music.
Nice, short and sweet.
Yeah, that's what I was trying to do.
Nice. All right, so let's. You got the legend. All right, so walk us through it. What do we got here, Mason?
Well, it's a graphic novel. It's 110 pages. It's the first 4 issues of the story, and it's a complete story, beginning, middle, and end. And it follows a young hero named Azure as he travels through a world of magic, demons, and monsters as he tries to restore his family's name. And I really wanted to create a series that had the superhero feel, but like in a fantasy setting, almost like Battle Chasers that Joe Mad did. That's the kind of comic that I was raised on, and I'm a huge fan of like fantasy games like World of Warcraft, things like that. So I really want to make a series They kind of have that flavor and that style. So it's been a lot of fun. I'm having a great time doing it, and I can't wait to start the next story arc.
Nice. So okay, so this is obviously the first story arc. How many arcs are you looking to have?
At least 5. You know, already have like the next story arc planned already. I've already started it, and actually, if you one of the rewards here is for the special edition, and you'll see it on here too. There's actually a small preview of the next story arc in that special edition, and it's available for both digital and physical backers.
Cool. Nice. Now, so are all of the issues or all of the arcs going to be 5 issues each? Are you looking for a 20 issue series?
Yeah, 20. Well, yeah, 20 issues. Yeah, and once again, you know, if the story keeps going, I don't mind doing 25. I don't mind doing 30. My biggest thing is, am I going to, you know, release it individually as issues, or am I going to keep doing the graphic novels? Because over time, I found that I think I prefer publishing comics as graphic novels, just to give people that, you know, that complete story in bites, as opposed to saying, oh, here's issue 1, here's issue 2, 5 years later, here's issue 3. I think I prefer just saying, here's the book, you know, check out the book. You like it, cool. Well, here's the next book. So, and since I'm the artist and the writer and the letter and the editor, I do everything myself. I'm able to, you know, get things out a little bit faster.
Now, you said you sell, you go to conventions, you sell prints, you do artwork and all that jazz.
Yes.
Do you find the sale, like, do you find the sales on the books help?
Yes. Oh, yes. Like what James was saying, oftentimes you'll use fan art to bring the customer in, because like if you don't have that aspect to your sales, you have to pitch it, and you have to sell, you know, yourself as well as the book. Whereas if someone's already sold your art already, well then, you know, that's half the battle. You know, they like what you do, so now all you gotta do at that point is sell them on the book. So I find that at conventions, me having, you know, my books on the table and my art up just makes selling a lot easier. But the reason why I want to do a Kickstarter campaign was because, you know, travel's gone up, the price of tables has gone up. I haven't been able to, you know, attend as many conventions as I used to want to attend. So I said, hey, you know what? Let me try this avenue to get my book out there to people. And also, you know, I mean, obviously people can't see me at a convention all the time. So I think this is a great way to get the book out there to people who probably can't, you know, come out to the Midwest, East Coast, typically, you know, where I go to conventions. So I figured it'd be, you know, it'd be a great way to expand the brand.
Gotcha. Nice. Okay, cool.
So do you do physical and digital, or do
Yes.
you do a combination of the two?
Yes.
Nice.
Yeah, I can, you know. Oh, you mean like in terms of like the artwork, the drawing?
Yeah, artwork. Like
Yeah. I do both. You know, I think physical is good for, you know, selling to people. Obviously, it's worth more money. Actually, one of my tiers is a reward where you'll get an actual commission from me that I'll send to you. So so I find the physical good for, you know, selling your art for a lot of money, and digital is good for, you know, getting work out fast, you know, for like production and things like that. So, you know, it's kind of like, you know, like a give and take, a push and pull.
So there you
Got
go.
it, Carlos.
Yep. Carlos is really good at you know, helping people promote. He's awesome. He's on here all the time. So.
Oh yeah, I appreciate it. Yeah.
All right, cool. So I get nice. All right. So I have this question for you. This is one that we've been batting around for a minute, Daphne and I and a couple others, talking about Kickstarter and what we've been doing. So the one thing we notice is a preponderance. There's like 3 things that do very well on Kickstarter's comic books. One is bad girl or good girl books, right? Cthulhu tends to do very well. Horror comics tend to do very well. Superhero books tend to do a little spotty. If they tend to be part of the good girl, bad girl thing, they do very well. They tend to be on there and they do somewhere middle range, right? But one of the things we have noticed is that a preponderance of Kickstarters have been putting out a lot of cheesecake little buttons, and this goes back to my first question. Do you guys think that stuff helps? Obvious, you know. So I mean, or what is your experience with that? Do you think that's something that you would advise new upcoming people are doing Kickstarter to do.
If you're into it.
Well,
you know, personally, me, I'm not into that kind of stuff, so I wouldn't do it. But I mean, if you like doing it, I mean, it's a great way to get your audience, because I mean, frankly, the audience that we're going for are men between the age of 18 and 35, and what do men like typically? They like a little TNA.
Yeah, that's true.
So, you know, but again, you know, that's if you want to do that kind of stuff. Me personally, I'm not into that. You know, I want kids to read my book. You know, I want my book in schools, things like that. So I might not do that kind of stuff, but I would never tell somebody not to do it. I mean, obviously, for some creators, it works very well, very, very well. So,
Travis,
I mean, regardless of whether or not I like it or not, I mean, it's clearly not my thing. A Steph Wilson cover will get you 20 backers, like, period. Like, it is what it is, right? Whether or not I like his circles or not, like, is irrelevant. I like him as a person. I like stuff. That's not my kind of vibe. But it does work. It does sell. And the reason why I think it sells too is it's embarrassing if you're into that stuff. And I don't think there's anything wrong with being there, but for a certain amount of people, it's embarrassing to order it from your comic store, right? Like, you order all these regular books and then you want some of these books, and even like the porn books. Let's be honest. Like, it's way easier to get that stuff shipped to your house. You don't have to deal with any of the stigma. And I know, because I used to run a comic store, and when I was younger, and we would mock the people who did that, right? Even though we had the pulls, we would do it. And I'm sure they knew it, because we all may have that weird look in our eyes. So, you know, I think that's why they do so well here, is because it allows them to do that with a little bit of animosity. Animosity, that's not what I'm looking for. Anonymity.
Nice. All right, James, what do you got?
Well, as someone recently told me at the last show I was at, that they love how I draw women.
Another perfectly timed freeze.
That's
exactly what it said. Nothing.
My Wi-Fi is terrible.
You're timing it perfectly, though. That's the best part.
I know, right? No, the one thing about it is that at least the prints I sell at the shows are, they're good looking women and everything, but I don't make it uberly sexual. It's, you know, it's almost like on the good girl, bad girl like line. And it's more to do with they're cute, they're a little sexy, yes, but they're not overly like that. They're more like, they're like the kind of girl you would love to date, kind of thing. But again, I don't go to the extreme, because that's just not me. That's just not what, you know. I've been offered to do, you know, commissions like that, which it's just not me. If you see in the prints I do at shows, they're there, you know, they're cute, they attract, and again, like before I said, I use that to bring people in and talk to them about everything else. So it's a market. For me, it's a marketing ploy. If you really think about it, it does sell, but I use it for a reason. So that's my take on it.
And real quick, I want to say, like, you know, there's artists out there who make a living just doing that kind of art. Like, for example, Campbell.
Jay Scott. Yeah, Jay Scott.
Campbell.
Yes.
How can I say his first name? Anyway, but yeah, you know, I mean,
Adam Hughes too.
Yeah, he's famous for that. And granted, in his case, you know, it's tasteful cheesecake. But still, I mean, that's the kind of artist he is, and he makes a great living doing it. So obviously it sells. So again, I say, if you want to do it, do it. You'll make money doing it.
I mean, you mentioned Battle Chasers. That's not a cheesecake book, but that book sold because of a redhead.
Yes,
a redheaded pirate. I'll tell you that.
You know, it's funny you say that, Gib, because I was actually like going back through like the old issues, and I was like, wow, man, he really just put it out there with that character.
Right.
Like, you know, they're like bouncing around, you know, like absurd.
No, he didn't. Yeah, he just went all out with it.
Oh, like I said, wow. So
yeah, I mean. The way I approach my stuff is like, I'm thinking like the old Vargas kind of pinup girls from the 30s and 40s. I equate my stuff more to like the Adam Hughes, Frank Cho, J. Scott Campbell school of good girl art.
Yeah.
So that's where I'm. At least that's what I'm aiming at.
Right.
And again, it's not overt.
No.
It's stuff. You listen. I get like kids. Like I want to say like young. I'm talking like maybe 11, 10-year-olds who'll buy the Harley Quinn I sell or like that because it's not overly overt. It's just a cute girl. That's it.
That's fair. Damion?
I mean, subject matter. It's up to the interpretation. So I mean, sure. If you can, if somebody said, "Hey, should I do this?" and they think they can do it well, and they feel like they're getting something out of it, and they're whoever's buying it's getting something out of it. Hey, more power to you. This is America, right? But I'd go up to porn, like past porn comics. I don't think I could do porn comics, but I could do. There's nothing wrong with them. I don't think I could do it. But from about there down or up, whichever way you want to say it, I could draw that. I mean, I feel like I have an idea for like a sketchbook I want to do that's women, like attractive women, in various, heights, weight, sizes, just kind of like a study as a sketchbook. So, I mean, nudity isn't a problem for me. If somebody else could do it and make money at it, hey, more power to them.
Yeah, I mean, Frank Cho puts out a lot of books like that.
Oh, I love Frank Cho's How to Draw Women book.
Yeah.
That is, and I'm flipping through it, and my wife looks over and she goes, "What are you looking at?" And I'm like, "Naked women. You want to see? Here's how you draw them." She's like, "Oh, okay."
What about it's all wheat cakes, so I don't know if you ever see his covers.
If you put them together, you win. That's all.
Mr. Torres, what do you got?
I think as long as it's within the character, it's okay. So, for example, like with mine, she wears a skirt and a little low cut top. So you can play with that for a little bit. So if you can do a little sexier pose, I think it's okay as long as the character is that type of person. If she's not, then it hurts the book that you're trying to sell. As a side thing, all this talk was reminding me about there was this video game called Rumble Roses. That was it. It was a wrestling game with half naked chicks fighting because they were half naked chicks. That was the thing. And I remember when it came out, I had bought a copy for my nephew, who was I think 12 at the time, and because I was like, he likes wrestling, I'm sure he likes half naked chicks. Let me buy him this game. Cut to 15, 16 years later, I was visiting him. He's an adult now, and I was talking to him about it, and we were just shooting a breeze, and he was like, "Hey, Uncle Marky, do you remember that video game you bought me?" I was like, "Yeah." He's like, "That video game changed my life."
For the better?
And I was like, I had no idea. It was just, I thought you would like it. He's like, "No, that game, it changed my life." The way he said it, I was like, wow, I had no idea what kind of impact Uncle Marky did to this poor kid.
Now, was it for the better? What does he do for a living?
Is he well adjusted? Is he happy?
He is well adjusted. He works in accounting.
Oh, okay. Kind of boring, but it makes money.
So yeah.
All right, cool. Well, I had to laugh every time everybody brought up porn because I wrote porn for a number of years as a professional.
I remember this story.
Yeah, exactly. The funniest thing I discovered just recently is that those books that I wrote back in the 90s are selling for $30 to $50 a pop, regardless of the issue, because there's just a community out there that collects them. It's nuts. I thought it was crazy. It was just like, I was like, what? And it was like those books, and they were just like, yep. And I had, I had one guy. He sent me a small collection so I could sign them for him. I actually have to send those back to him. But it's just funny that there's a community that is really into those books, and it is funny to see. Yeah, and I know whenever people would when Jim Halley's Universe was open in New York City, in Manhattan, in Midtown, I would go in there at a corner where it was just the adult books. And I'm an adult. I didn't give a fuck. I would just grab a book and just bring it over to the counter. And, you know, sometimes the kids will do is like, oh, look at this weirdo, and I'd be like, I'll smack a bone at your head. You better ring me up. I gotta get. It's like I don't care.
I used to work for Blockbuster Video, as I've mentioned many a times, and the one question we used to get every couple of days, somebody used to come in. Where's the adult section? Like, we're a family store, we don't have adults. So it's just one of those things.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. But it's funny because, you know, I've gone from that to writing about a mouse. So it's one of those things where it's just like, you know, you hit both ends. And you're just okay, you know, you're family friendly, and then you have this other thing. You're like, okay. But
well, the bigger question for you is: do you feel some of your best writing is in those days, and do we need to hunt down it to get your quality of like this is your peak?
No.
Did you peak back then, or you peak now?
It was based on the manga. It was based on the manga, and then you decided to offshoot from that, right?
No. I'm still, as far as getting a peak, I'm still climbing up. And as far as doing an offshoot, no, I've never done an offshoot off of the other work that I've done off of that.
I mean, if you do heavy metal, like the old heavy metal cartoon, you could do both.
Right. This is true. Mm-hmm. All right, Mr. Torres, you're up. What's your question, sir?
All right, this is a simple one. You have X amount of pages in your book. How do you decide which pages to put on your Kickstarter page? Because you don't want to give them too much, as you may know, if you ever watch a movie trailer, after you watch the movie, you'll notice that in the trailer, within 10 minutes, the ending is always there. And you don't want to give away too much. They always say, oh, the trailer has the best parts, and then you get disappointed when you have the book. So how do you decide what pages to put in of your book into the Kickstarter campaign?
Interesting. Travis, you're up.
Yeah, so I always put the first 5, but to make his point, if I have something that I need to show, like a monster or something that I know is cool that doesn't fit in that 5 pages, I'll make sure I do that. But I always write my 5 pages to kind of hint of where I'm going next. It's kind of just a story structure thing that I do. My first 5 pages really implies, like I try to give in the first 5 pages, here's where we're going. So like I'm really good at that, but that's film school. That's me writing and reading tons of books and stuff. That's just me like learning this craft before I started the craft, learning, that was a Chuck Dixon rule. I think every 5 pages, you need to be able to lead people to where you're going. You can twist it, but you got to kind of tell them an idea of where this is heading within the first 5 pages of the book. And make sure it's a brand new 5 pages, very action every 5 pages type of thing. So that for me, that's the way I handle it.
Nice. Mr. James?
Well, the way I'm planning out for the Sarah book is that I'm definitely going to show like the opening sequence, just that to bring them, because it's an action sequence. So just grab them in, because the story starts off with really much you being thrown in the middle of the action. But yeah, I mean, I would treat it like a trailer. Don't show everything, which is one thing I hate about movie trailers sometimes, because some trailers will look so damn good, and then when you see it in the movie, it's just utterly horrendous. Best example is Hudson Hawk, which I still regret paying money to see that freaking movie, because the trailer looked great. Then I went to see it, I was like, what the hell is this? So for Sarah, yeah, I mean, I'm the first opening sequence, which is about 4 pages long, is going to be the intro, and I might add a page or two of just simple dialogue, so people can know it's not just going to be action. It's going to be also could be some actual dialogue going on. But yeah, that's how I would approach. That's how I'm approaching it.
All right, cool. Mason, what do you got?
Well, for me, I mean, just kind of like what the other guy said. I tend to. Well, all right. So for my Kickstarter, what I did was I kind of had like an opening sequence, but I also want to show like an action sequence as well. So, and I also wanted, it to look somewhat good. So I chose the best pages from a sequence, as well as the best pages from my action sequence, and I put that on my Kickstarter pages. So that's how I did it. I agree that it should be an opening sequence of some kind, And I think the goal should be to give the viewer a feel what your book is about. And since my book is mainly, an action adventure, I want to show some adventure. I want to show some action. So that's kind of how I did it. So.
All right. Cool. Damion.
I hate to be like, yeah, what everybody else say, but kind of, yeah. I mean, I don't know what I can add. I know personally that, like as far as cannibalizing art for other places throughout the Kickstarter, I'll usually draw original art for all that. But just that presentation piece, I usually do like the first couple of pages or a 3 to 5 page segment that I know won't reveal too much, but kind of hits the notes of the series or kind of hits the notes of the book at least. And then build other art off that to fill out the page.
Cool. I'm pretty much like Travis. It's usually I only usually put up the first 2 or 3 pages, and then I'll put up random pages. The only complaint that I get is that I usually leave all the pages with no dialogue or anything. And they're like, a lot of people they do sometimes like to read it, but I'm like, most of it's from my webcomic. You can go read it there. And to be honest, I just don't like giving that away for some reason. I want people to read it in the book, not necessarily it's just a few pages on the screen. But conversely, I still have it on my website. You can always check it out there.
That's understandable.
Mr. Torres.
So I went through my entire 22 pages, and I made a list of the best looking pages. And out of those, I was only able to get 2 pages colored. So out of those, I decided to get the 2 of those best pages colored, and so I put up 4 on there. And as we were mentioning with Sex Cells, I have the main first page is a girl changing in color right there. Because I was like, maybe I should save it. And I was like, nope, I'm gonna put that one front and center in color out of the 2 pages I got colored, and the second page was aliens colored.
Very eyes wide shut there.
No shame in the game, Mark. That's all it is.
Yeah. Hey, if Cooper can do it, so can you.
Exactly. Mr. Damion, what do you got? What's your question?
So I'm gonna get deep on you. If you were to die tomorrow, who would take over for you? Do you have a person or a group or someone that would take over for you and keep your project going? Or maybe someone in your life, a spouse, a partner, somebody like that owns part of that and would know what to do. Do you have a plan if the inevitable were to happen as far as your project's concerned?
Wow.
James, you're first, brother.
Ooh.
He's gonna freeze again.
No, I mean, definitely my wife would definitely take over the book, take over the property, and I'm sure she would find someone that she felt would live up to the quality I would want. In a weird way, my future self, at least the way I kind of thought about it, was that it's funny that my niece, my oldest niece, is heavily into drawing right now. She's actually drawing better than I was when I was her age, and she's 10.
Nice.
So, like I said, for me, it would be like this. My wife would take over the property. She'd own it. I would trust her completely with it because, she knows how passionate I am about it, and she would want the best quality for it. And my oldest niece, Katie, in my fantasy, would take over as the artist eventually after a long hiatus when she grows up or whatever, because it's just funny that art kind of runs in my family a little bit. I do have a daughter that she kind of dabbles, but my oldest niece has really jumped into it full in, and she's even getting into songwriting. She's pretty much into everything. So in my mind, I would want my wife to handle everything, take care of it, know what because she was most closest with me throughout the whole thing. And if she finds an artist worthy of it, that she feels is worthy of it, great. And I would love, like I said, in my dreams would be maybe one day my niece would do an issue or take over the book. Either way, So, but in the meantime, I'm here. I'm healthy. I'm going to do this thing as long as I possibly can. And because this has been a passion project of mine for a long, long time, and I'm finally trying to getting it out, as we all want to get our stuff out there. But yeah, my wife Mitzi, who I love very much, and she's watching right now. Love you, sweetheart. She will take over, and like I said, maybe one day, my niece will take over as the artist.
Nice. Damion, you suck. You're gonna make the man cry. Mason, you're next.
Unfortunately, I think if something happened to me, I think the property probably died with me. Sad to say. My wife's not really into comics very much. There's not really any other artists in my family. So yeah, I think if something happens to me, I think that's pretty much the end. Sad to say. So short and sweet.
I feel bad about it. I'm sorry. It's not funny. I just, it's something I've had to think about recently. Which is
sure, I understand. Yeah, I mean, and honestly, we're all getting older. Tomorrow's not promised anybody, and I think like once you pass 40, things stop working properly. You're like, oh, okay, I'm gonna die one day. That 20-year-old who can do backflips.
Yeah.
And like eat hot wings. You just can't do that anymore. So,
do you eat the hot wings while you're doing the backflip?
I could when I was 20, and I didn't remember.
I couldn't do either of those at 20.
I just turned 51, so I know how you feel.
But yeah, I mean, I think your mortality begins to come into play once you pass a certain age. You're like, wow, I have more years behind me than I do in front of me. So what happens going forward? And and honestly, it's something to think about.
It is. I had that existential crisis a few years ago. It's terrifying.
It is.
Yep.
It really, really is.
Yeah. Travis, what do you got, brother?
Well, you made me realize I got to finish some scripts just in case. But so my wife is my editor. I think she would finish the ones that are important that need to be finished. And she'd let the other ones kind of die. I think she kind of knows which ones are important. But I wouldn't doubt that my wife would hire some of my friends to do some things in my legacy. Like she's really cool like that. But my wife is wild. Like, she just edited my book, and now she's getting more art in right now for her books than mine. Like she has a book called Pup Van Winkle, and then she wrote a cottage cheese song like a month ago, and now we've got 5 pages in. It's now a comic book and an art book and a thing. So, I mean, I think she'll be the person you guys are interviewing in like a month based on her production level. She's getting way faster than me.
Nice.
So yeah, no, I do, but hopefully she does stuff, and if she doesn't like stuff, I hope she sells them. I noticed that I'd have my wife sell the IP. Yeah, I hope my wife sells them. If any IP that she doesn't want to do, like I hope she sells them and makes a little cash.
Oh yeah. I'd have the wife sell the IPs. Mr. Mark, what do you got?
Everything dies with me. I've had like 5 midlife crises already.
Nice.
The show's done. Everything's done. They won't even know.
Mm-hmm.
Hey, I'm that guy. I don't know.
Says, let me give him a call. What do you mean he's dead?
Yeah, that's exactly what's going to happen.
Oh, Ouija board because it's long distance.
Hey, that's how I felt when I first heard that Jean-Paul Leon was passed away. I was like, really? I mean, Jesus.
Yeah.
I knew Jean-Paul. I went to school with him.
Oh. Yeah, that must have sucked. Was it Art and Designer or SVA?
SVA.
SVA?
Yeah, we were both in Walter's class.
Gotcha. Yeah. Right. I mean, it was unfortunate.
Yeah.
But it's funny. Like, I think Daphne once mentioned, she was like, yeah, it would just, what did she tell me? She said it would just be tough getting someone to finish all of the scripts. So I'm in the process of finishing. Well, I finished the story. I just got to transcribe them from handwritten stories to typewritten stories. But I'm pretty sure Daphne would finish up Tall Tales, and she would finish up Oswald as well. So, but anything else will probably die on the vine. and there's probably about another 6 projects behind these. So we'll see what happens. Hopefully, I'll live long enough to complete them.
Good
My
health,
grand-
everybody. Good
And
health.
is 96, so hopefully I'll be around that long. Well, maybe I don't know if I want to be around that long. We'll see.
Not the way this government's going, but okay.
Yeah, we'll see. We'll see. Yeah, I got one last question for everybody. Oh no, Damion, ask your damn question. I'm sorry, you're the one that asked it.
Oh, well, I'm in charge of everything Realmer based, which is really my big lifetime project. Copywritten, and to me and my wife both. I have a backhanded sort of will set up. I've had a couple people I've talked to. I'm diabetic, and I had a scare. They took a chunk of my toe, and that and some other surgeries and things. And I'm 46, and I'm a old fat white dude. So we have a horrible life expectancy for as much bullshit as we screw up. So, sorry, just long story short, I've done a lot of things recently to make sure that if anything were to happen to me, it would so at least be seen in some final form before, it goes into the annals of whatever history there would be for it. So.
Fair enough. All right, so I got one that we can hopefully make it really quick, but I think it's an important one for anyone who's wanting.
Yes.
So, what do you guys find in Kickstarter is a real profit killer? Like, what's something to avoid that's a real profit killer, right? So I think we're up to James.
Well, from what I've seen of other Kickstarters, and the one thing I'm hoping to avoid when I launch mine is to not make the introduction to whatever project it is so boring or so mundane that they feel like people just go it's like, it's not worth it. That's why, I'm wondering, do I do a quick video? Do I do this? I'm trying to avoid any pitfalls that would happen to it. I fear not to be able to grab the attention, make sure I have the right image to set it off. Like I said, I've done 1 or 2 Kickstarters before, which unfortunately never got fully funded. But the one I remember doing, we made the video way too long, way too long. It almost hit 3:45. Which is like, like that. So making it short and sweet, making sure it's done correctly, and not make it so that the person who's watching it is going to be bored to death and say, I'm not going to back this. It's just, like that doesn't grab me. So that's the one thing I want to try to avoid.
All right, cool, fair enough. Mason, you got any thoughts on it?
Well, I'm pretty much a novice at this stuff, so I'm pretty much learning as I go along. So I really don't know what's been a profit killer. I know Travis told me when I first started, because I had like a GIF showing the pages.
Mm-hmm.
And Travis was like, hey man, listen, you need to get rid of that. And I was like, really? He was like, yeah. I was like, okay. So I got rid of it, and I think I've done better because of it, because I think the GIF was just going too slow. So everyone thought that, it was only like 1 page showing the story, where actually it was like 5 in there, but I guess it was switching too slow. So he said, you know what, just get rid of that. Just put the 5 pages up and let people scroll through it. And so that's one thing. Don't put any GIFs in your, for your pages. Don't do that. What else? And something else too that I think I'm gonna do next time is I'm gonna have a few variant covers. I don't have any variant covers in this one. And once again, Mr. Gibb told me, he was like, hey man, listen, you need something on there that's like a kiss, that's an exclusive just for, people back in the Kickstarter. Now we don't have that in my campaign beyond like, the like original picture that you can get from me. So I think next time I'm gonna do like more variants, more exclusives and things like that. That's really about all I really think of. And also for me, it's shipping. I'm really scared of the shipping side of things. That thing's like really freaking me out. I don't know how that's going. I mean, I'm pretty sure I got it covered, but like one of the reasons why I did like US only for physical this time around was because I was definitely afraid of having a situation where it's like oh, hey, you got to order from Budapest. And then it's like $100 to ship it. And I didn't, calculate it right. So now I'm down tons of money. So to avoid that, I went like domestic shipping only. But I think that obviously blocked out a whole mass of potential of backers that I could have in my campaign. So next time I'm going to do international physical as well. But I can just imagine like a slip up on the shipping side of things can really destroy your campaign. So.
That's true. Yeah.
Very true. Travis, what are your thoughts?
Nothing. I've always done it perfectly, and there's nothing that I never lost money in comics ever. So I mean, I don't know what you guys are talking about. I think make it just gonna money gun all day. Variant covers. You can always lose money on variant covers. It's very, very easy. It's very quick to get them. But, you can – here's the thing that people don't understand. I could get Todd McFarlane, and I'm not exaggerating, Todd McFarlane do a cover for me. If he never talks about it, it doesn't mean a damn thing, right? So it's getting these people to talk about what you have. So I would rather get 5 indie guys who want to hustle and want to get their names out, who could post and stuff. Going back to we talked about Steph Williams. If you buy his cover, it's not just that you get his very unique art style. He'll also sell it. He'll promote it. Him and his wife.
Crazy. Yeah, I've seen him everywhere.
There's a thing about doing that to try to figure that out. The other thing that variant covers, why they can be such a loss leader, is table space. When you're at a con, you now need this whole base table space. And then the third thing is all the time when printers are losing money, they change the rate of that switch cover fee. That's the thing that changes all the time because they want to keep, the cost of the printing is about the same, but you switched your variant covers. You have 12 variant covers. We charge $432 a piece now. Well, it was $50 last month. Well, the economy, those gas prices, somehow affected this. So you're screwed. Sorry. So that's where it could be a loss leader. And then, don't do T-shirts so you know what the hell you're doing. That's my other advice. Everyone who I've seen who's had a bad Kickstarter, it's because they did T-shirts and they didn't know what the hell they were doing. So they had to send tons of T-shirts, and people only ordered 5. So now they thought they were going to be able to order like hundreds. They can only order 5. So now they're paying $22 a piece, and they're like, "I don't make any profit." Yep, you don't make any profit, buddy.
Yeah, any kind of apparel and like that, leave it to like Shopify or anything like that. Let's give them through that way, because I knew a guy who tried to do T-shirts and he ordered way too many, and he really couldn't even give them away at the end. So
that's why I bought a Cricut, because I was like $5 at Michael's. I make a 1-color T-shirt. I'm good.
There you go. T-shirts and trading cards, as Carlos says. It says international shipping is a tricky dick. Yes, it is.
Especially in Australia, I don't know if you guys were part of this, but Australia during COVID was like, you can send stuff to us, but it's $75 a comic. It was literally one comic for $75.
Wow. I heard that.
Wow.
So I was just like, no, you get your money back, good sir.
Yeah.
I don't play that game.
It says you have a PDF. How does that sound? Right? Jesus.
I mean, dude, hell, I want to do a Spanish language version for mine too. So it's like, it's gonna be an extra cost.
Yeah. All right, Mr. We'll go with Damion. What do you think?
Years. I know people that will do like, they'll make a flag and they'll be like, the book plus an extra plus the alternative cover, then the book plus a pin, and then the book plus and then it's like the book with the alternate cover plus the pin, and then it's random. It's like make smaller packages. I mean, make bigger packages. Maybe like 2 books and a pin, and then add things as you go. But don't, you know what I mean? Don't. There's the paralysis of choice.
Mm-hmm.
I want, and granted, that's why Kickstarter's moved to add-ons, which does simplify that whole process. But if you don't have to build all that into your tiers now, it could be like here's my book. Here's the book with the extra cover. Here's the PDF version. Now go through the add-ons and get what you want, which is much better. But originally, to me, that was a big issue that I saw. Where it was like, I don't have to get all this, or I don't want to have to only get this. I want this, this, and this. Can I just do this? If that made sense.
No, it does.
Yeah,
Mark?
it's also more cost effective too.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Mark, you still there?
Yes, part of my research that I did, I looked at a lot of failed Kickstarter campaigns, because that's one thing you can do by time left. And then you look at the ones like, they made $10 out of a goal of $3,000. I'm like, why? And I look at the product and I'm like, man, some of these really suck. So don't suck. I think it's that they have overconfidence on what the quality that they're trying to present is. Like, they say like this is the second coming of comics, and you see like stick figures, badly drawn stick figures. I'm like, well, this doesn't make sense. So I think they have to be confident about what they have, but be realistic.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I mean, at this point, I figure, especially when it comes to the quality of a book, considering the technology nowadays with so many apps available, even any programs that are basically simple to do, or even get some good competent artists to work on your book. We're really at a point now that I think you should be either close to or as good as majors, at least in quality. We have the ability to do coloring as good as Image. We should be able to get hone our artwork style as good as anybody else, at least to the best level you can.
Yeah, I mean, it all boils down to how deep are your pockets.
That too.
I can hire a guy from out of like Italy or Spain at $150 a page and look just as good as anything from Marvel, but it's $150 a page.
Right. Oh no! Listen, a friend of mine, he has an artist out of Manila.
Right.
He pays him the equivalent of almost like $50 per page.
Mm-hmm. Right.
And the quality is freaking phenomenal.
Yeah. I mean, you got to hunt.
Yeah.
You gotta hunt them down. But it all boils down to nickels and cents. It's just like
absolutely.
It comes down to that. So I find the biggest killer of profits is when anyone just gives away too many add-ons and they don't look at them deep enough. Like, you're giving away a patch, a sticker, a metal trading card. I mean, patches are usually run you anywhere from $1.50 to $3. Stickers can run you as high as $3, depending how big it is and where you buy it. And metal trading cards, about $1.50, $2. Right. So I mean, that stuff will add up, especially if you have a huge backer count. It could come down in price if you order in bulk. So it's one of those crazy things. So you can get them cheap if you order in bulk, but you got to have a high backer count. So I don't know. Those are the things I would say watch out for. Because I did a campaign where I was giving something away every $500, and I was just like, ooh, yeah, that kind of hurt at the end. But it is whatever.
Right.
Yeah.
And that's a secret of mine too. I'll tell you one of my secrets. So in Sticker Mule, they have this thing called deals. So you'll notice on my higher level tiers, like my collector's kits, they'll have like coasters and all that stuff. Well, everything translates to that. I know I'm only going to sell like 30 or so kits. If I ever do better, I can buy in bulk, but I don't need to. I know that I can buy 10 for basically $9. So it's $9 for 10. So I only buy stuff that is available in that deal section because I know I'm not going to get screwed over. Yeah. That's a little free tip. If anybody wants to tip the Kickstarter for that, there you go.
Yeah, I mean, one of the things I want to offer, I do a very limited amount of them because it's also about time constraints and everything, is offer a sketch cover that I'll do, like that. But even then, I mean, I don't plan on making like so many, maybe maximum of 10. Like at one of the highest levels, like that, because then 10, it's within reason that I can actually do it within a certain amount of time. So, yeah, I mean, tiers definitely is one thing. You don't want to do too much, because then you overstretch yourself. And I'm sure all of us have other things we do besides this. I mean, I have a day job. My commute is 6 hours full time, just going there and back from work. So. Oh yeah. I don't have a car, sadly. So I mean, I'm going from Queens to Staten Island for God's sakes. But yeah. So anytime, any free time I got, even on the trip back home, I'm squeezing in what I can. So you got to also figure out what can you actually get done. What can you actually offer that's at least not so much for you, but at least it's a good incentive for them to jump on board with your project.
Yes, Wendy, we're still here.
Wendy says you guys are still here. Well, we're about to not be here soon, Wendy. So here we go. We made it to the end, guys. Thank you so much for joining us. You guys are awesome. Let's start with Mr. Mason. Please let everybody know where they can find you and your work, sir.
Yeah, you can find me at ME_Mason Easley at Instagram. And you can also find me at Mason Easley Studios on Damion R. And you can find me on Facebook under Mason Easley.
All right, cool. Travis, where can they find you, sir?
In those old porn books that you used to write about 30 years ago, they're about $30 a piece. They're not hard to find, but they are going to cost you a little bit. I'm in most of those. I remember posing for those back in the day. But if you don't want to find me there and you want to find me with clothes on, you can find me Jester Lou. You can find me on my Kickstarter, Voodoo Nations, or you can find me on my Substack, travisgibb.substack.com. Not only do I have free content, I also have paid content where you can create a book with me. We're creating a whole book together. I'm letting you guys decide art team, colorist, a whole shebang. Even if we decide to Kickstarter or try to submit it to Image or whoever you guys want to submit it to.
Nice. James?
You can find me mostly on Instagram at jrodart71. I'm also I'm working on the current Marvel Masterpieces for 2022. We're doing 80 cards for that, so that'll be coming out sometime later this year, as far as I can tell. And I can show you this one really quickly. Nice. That's the best I can do. And I'm currently also working on the pages for Sarah right now, so that's one of the pages there. Other than that, if you are in Staten Island, stop by Newberry Comics at Staten Island Mall. I'm manager there, so stop by and say hi. And yeah, that's where you can find me. And of course, one last thing, to my wife who's watching, thank you so much for your support. And I'll see you soon.
Nice.
Aww.
Mark, you're horrible. That's all I'm saying. You're horrible.
I know.
You and Damian, I don't know which one of you is worse. Anyway, Damian, please.
Damion Waldbrunn is my name, and I'm the only one of me. So if you look online for me, you will find me. But if you're wanting a quick look right there, scan that code. Go to areyoomniversal.com. You'll find everything out about Realmer X, Toys. And I also make music under Bitgroove Music. And here, scan that real quick. Okay. Got it. And I am also 1/4 of the Dastardly Dingoes podcast, which should be returning possibly for a Christmas in July episode here shortly. And then at some point in the fall, we'll be coming back.
Mr. Mark.
All right, so it makes it easy. It's www.itcamefromradio.com. Just type in Google It Came From the Radio. You can find us. We are actual terrestrial radio show and also online. You can hear us on 88.1 FM WARY in Westchester County every Monday through Friday after 10 p.m. multiple times. That's what the station manager tells me he plays us. I can't hear it because I'm not there. We're also on Wednesdays on sci-fi.radio at 8 a.m. and 8 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. On Thursdays, we're on btdradio.com at 4 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. And on Fridays, we're on 6 p.m. on indyvolt.com. And we have a live show, courtesy of the East Meadow Public Library in East Meadow, New York. That's www.eastmeadow.info. It's the second Wednesday of every month. So this coming Wednesday, we're going to have our live show. It's virtual because of the pandemic. We're going to have a guest, Christian S. Aluas, as our guest. And that is all for us.
Well, my name is JD Calderon. You can find me on Instagram, Facebook, Twitter, DeviantArt, all under JD Calderon. You can also check out the OswaldChronicles.com. You can also check out my Kickstarter, the OswaldChronicles.com, which is running this month. There it is. That's one of them anyway. So thank you so much, everybody. You guys are all fantastic. And all of you guys, the guys who have Kickstarters, who are here and who are left, all of them are fantastic. Go back those books, because we need more great independent comics. Thank you, guys. Talk to you all soon.
Bye.
Look forward to the next one.